And hello everyone. So today we cut the meltdowns and I took the Gideon's Inventions back out of the side. They weren't impressive. I'm hesitant about cutting the meltdowns, but I figure we'll give it a try. Um, so many people hate them that just maybe it's right, but I don't know. This ends fine. It's got a 2 mana spell, a 3 mana spell, it's got a draw 5, or draw 2 and approach. You just have to hit lands, which is a common theme to this deck. It's a common theme to most controlish decks, even though this deck kind of plays out more like a fog deck. Well, they had a pretty good 5. Like, it doesn't even matter really what else is in their hand. If you have a turn 1 attune with any Teamerish style deck, you're doing pretty okay. My sinuses are rocking me today. Just rocking me. Well, I'm probably willing to take a hit. Oh yeah. They had an absolutely wonderful draw. That was a mulligan to 5 and they still have a turn 3 Hydra. Pretty sick. Sorry, I didn't mean to clear my throat. I didn't get to the mute button in time. Well, this is a little discouraging. Um, Gonna have to hit lands, and we're gonna have to hope they don't have a creature here. But even if they have a creature here, or even if they don't have a creature, it means they'll probably have a land for that. This is the first time that drawing about 1,000 approaches has felt kind of bad. Hopefully it's coming to play tap land so we can get the Hydra. But even if we don't get the Hydra at this point, feels like something we could win. It's obviously the worst case scenario for us. It's a chance that I could have just stasis snared the Servant last turn, but we didn't know we were going to hit the land drop. So as long as it's not something that gives energy, we're still in trouble. Is this card really going to come in and save the day? That is stellar. Hey, Strange Snow, how you been doing? Yeah, everybody kind of keeps insisting that I should, so I'm all about testing. Turns out it's all of a sudden a relevant card. This is one of the things that we brought in over over one. Oh wow, what a flavor fail! I put a non-textless one in my deck. Problem is, if he has Harness Lightning here, we still just die. Hopefully he doesn't have the Harness Lightning. I don't think there was a much better play there. If he has Harness Lightning, he can counterspell both abilities regardless. We do get a little insurance if we get past this turn, because we could take up the Gideon for one turn. Alright, well. And we'll just go ahead and do the emblem thingy because we have a second approach. What's up, Dumbo? Not saw you in a while, bub. Hello, James. You playing tonight? It's the $10 for the damaged scouting turn, so I assume everyone will just take the credit option over the damaged scouting turn. That may or may not be sleeve playable. Some people say it is, some people say it isn't. I have no idea. Typically versus Teamer, I just bring in these 6 cards, but Paul Rietzel, as usual, I say this every time, left these in his deck at the Grand Prix, and somebody else told me that you need to bring in the negates. I don't know if any of that's true. These are the cards that I would most likely bring in. I'd bring these in before I bring negates in because they cut off Glorybringers and they cut off Big Chandras. When I sideboard, I take out some of the clunkier cards. I don't normally feel like this match gets the negates scare me. Like I'm usually not wanting to go for like a turn 7, turn 8. So I do want to shave an approach. I normally shave down to 2, but now that we're on 4 approaches, I may leave 3. I'm not really sure. I think I'm just going to go down to 2 approaches. I may bring one back in on the play. Yeah, I don't know if I'll be there. I'm feeling a little rough today, but there's still many hours before then, so hopefully the mood can perk up. This hand, again, kind of light on lands. We don't have a Fumigate in our hand. We're probably going to have to cycle the cast out, which means a Chandra's devastating, but I'm not really sure we can mulligan this. I'm pretty sure we have to keep it. Yeah, they didn't impress me. We didn't really get the matches that there were 4. I didn't get paired versus any mirrors, really. It was good in the one mirror we did get paired versus. But we didn't really get paired versus a lot of the decks they were good for, and they seemed mediocre in the ramp match. I really need to just fix the ramp match, I think. I think Ramp's going to be a fairly decent player this weekend. Not that I'm going, so. But kind of like to prepare how I would go. Well, that's very bad for us. Well, this doesn't get a lot better than this, so some chance that it can mess them up on lands. They have a pretty quick clock in play with what they have, though. Little Gideon does some work here, but I would rather be able to Supreme Will as an impulse or counterspell something as opposed to play it. To beat ramp, we just have to overload the sideboard with counterspells, I think. It's probably the only way to beat ramp. So him just playing some arbitrary 4-drop would probably be the best thing for us. That's good enough to counterspell as well. It replaces itself, so. Land? Alright, well that is a land. And I guess we want to play around the gate. Kind of want the land, but not enough to keep it. Between the 2 cards we're going to be drawing and the draw step. Ginger doesn't play. I love Ginger. Ginger's obviously a wonderful player, but when he's that into that deck, like, it makes me not trust any of his results. Because, like, that's 150, right? But we know he's played the deck 50 times. But where we don't get to see all the 5-0 decks, was that just running well for that one event, or was it an actual good deck? I have no idea. Well, I don't think that I want to play. I don't think I want to play the cat here. I want to play this. There's some chance that he negates it. But what's more likely is that he's just going to untap and have a Glorybringer. I've not read very many of them. The only two cards that I've liked a lot are the Shroud Hexproof dude or whatever. Can't be counterspelled. Num Num. Like he's obviously not great, but like I think he does things. They take a random selection of the 5-0 lists that are at least 10 cards apart. So, like, there could be 30 5-0s and we only see 5 of them. And we see 5 different ones of them, too. So, like say Ginger's was the by far best deck in a million years. I'm not saying it is or not, but I'm saying in this hypothetical situation, assume that it was. Right? Like, we can only ever see 1 a day. And then even if like 10 hit the next day, we're not super likely to even see it the next day. So like looking at the MTGO results gives not a great example of how the format is anymore. Oh, well, that's good. That's good for him. Alright, we'll start with a cycle. That's good for me. We'll pop that up there. We'll put that there, and I guess we'll press F6. Oh, and the other card I like, I kind of like the like blue X like mill or whatever. It the blue X like still a dude for X. Like that card seems good to me, especially in Snapcaster Mage formats. I don't know how good it is, but it does seem good. This game's shaping up to look like a game that I'm going to really wish I had counter spells or something. Or second approaches, I guess. I don't know what he's paying 5 mana for. Post combat. Maybe a sky ship, but he could have just killed the Gideon with a sky ship and done damage to me. Maybe a Scarab God? 6 mana. Oh. Well, that's not easy for me to beat at all, is it? Take 6 to get some dragons, so he can get some dragons next turn? Oh, that's kind of hard to beat. It's very hard to beat if he has like a negate. Well, neither of you two do anything regardless. Bottom. There's a Fumigate. I don't know if a Fumigate does anything. There's a second Fumigate, though. Just until end of turn, so he's got to get rid of this to deal 5 damage to me? That doesn't seem great. And we have a Blessed Alliance to kill one of them? Wait, why does it just have 4 on it? So you can't even do that? I For some reason, I thought that already had 4 on it. I guess I looked at it afterwards. That's interesting. So it's a card I didn't think looked super good to begin with, and now looks even worse. Sure, it's a Bristling Hydra. And another Whirler? Okay. Well, that doesn't really change anything. The second Fumigate looks wonderful now. I just misread it. Look at the top card of your library if it's a land. Nah, not. I kind of hope he ultimates it. We'd still be at like 11 or something? I don't know. We'd be at a lot. Now we even have a cast out to try to play on it. This card's interesting because it can come down on 3 mana, and coming down on 3 mana is pretty relevant, but the ultimate's not super impressive, and neither is the ultimate's not super impressive, and it doesn't protect itself, so. So he taps 7 mana now? Our opponent's playing some cards. Don't know what he's doing with 7 mana. Nicol Bolas maybe, but he didn't put black in his pool? So he wants more than 7 mana. Now he's using this as a big ramp spell? I don't exactly know what's going on here. Oh, he's playing another Nissa. Well, that's kind of peculiar. What's up, Atrocity? What are you doing, bub? Fell asleep last night when you were playing the PUBGs. I'm pretty excited to get back into this League of Legends stuff. I kill your 5/5. Yeah. Playing around Censor's a thing. Wow, you got that in one day? I hate you so bad. It took me 3 weeks to get mine approved. Congratulations, looks nice, man. Then he zeroed it that time. What does zeroing it even do? Look at the top card of your library. If it's a land card or a creature card of converted mana cost X or less, so X is equal to the loyalty numbers, put that card onto the battlefield? Yeah, I hate you so bad. When I got affiliate or whatever, it was right when they like had approved 10 million thousand people. So like I think there was just a backlog because so many people got approved at once when I got mine. Later, man. Have fun at the Dentarino. So that was 1. This is 4. This is 5. This is 6. So like if this hits a land, we're lethal. Hit a land. Alright, so we win next turn providing he doesn't have a negate. And if he does have a negate, we can just start playing these beaters. Should be drawing the approach. Did I count wrong? I counted wrong. What did I do? Huh. Oh, we hadn't even... No? I'm confused. Should be 4 plus 2 draw steps. No, he did not. It should have been 4 plus 2 draw steps plus the draw step for our turn. But he negated it? I did not see him negate it. And I milled my other approach. Wonderful. I honestly didn't see him negate it. I did not notice him negate it. Well, that's kind of terrible. And I milled my other approach. Well, this game might have gotten hard. I went from an unlosable game state to I may have punted it off. We'll have to see. Yeah, I definitely couldn't lose. And now it's going to be hard to win, especially if he has another negate. Oh, that's a little frustrating. It's my fault. That doesn't mean it's not frustrating nonetheless. Wow. Rip. Rip, 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 rip. No, it's my fault. I deserve to lose. You know, I'm just going to play this thing. No, I mean, it is right here. The chat's 100% right. Everspear Harvester? Yeah. Could have punted this. I was so far ahead, too. Like, I'm not really behind now. I have the better attacker. He could definitely win this game. I'm absolutely amazed that he negated that and I didn't notice. Like, what's worse than me not noticing it is like I didn't notice the life total not change or anything. Like I just didn't notice any of it. He's exerting to kill a cat. It's worth it for him to kill a cat. Seems interesting to me, since he's pretty far back in any racing situation. I guess we'll take the Glimmer Genius. Kinda wanted to get into the trials, but bottom, top. I mean, you can negate the first one. Negating the first one's not the end of the world. Like, people, not letting them not draw the second one changes a lot of things, like when people are playing around stuff. I want to hold up the Essence Scatter here. So I'm just going to attack with the 2. It also plays around like if he resolves a Chandra or something and kills all my cats. And I don't need the second cat to win. But like, we're extremely favored in this match. I think he had a fairly good draw. We'll attempt to counterspell that. So in this one match alone, both the Essence Scatter and the Stasis Snare we brought in were useful. That's pretty cool. And that should lock it up. Because we are cat scratching right now, friends. Cat scratch fever! Sorry. Alright, well, we didn't need the approaches apparently. Yeah, that's kind of embarrassing to start off the day like that. Wow. Not only do I not see a spell go on the stacker or whatever, I don't even notice my life total didn't change. I think I get very lackadaisical. I think that's a word, lackadaisical or whatever, when I feel like I'm so far ahead that I can't lose. Anyway, if you're in chat, you can type !decklist to see both a picture of the deck and a link to where you can read the cards, whichever you prefer. Also, in the Twitch, you can look in the description below and find a link to my Twitter. On the link to my Twitter, you'll see every deck list I play every time I go live, and a link to the YouTube. On the YouTube, in every video in the descriptions, is both the Twitch, the Twitter, and the deck list we play. Played on that given day. And if I set it up right, there will even be links to the next day and or the previous day on there. But I may not have set that up right because YouTube's a little over my head. I'm just learning this computer stuff. Like, I think we're 2 months in now, so I'm not going to be able to use this just learning for long. And at some point, I just have to learn and go, and stop being lazy. Anyway, back to the game. Our hand's kind of reasonable. We have a turn 3. Oh, our hand's not reasonable at all. My win rate with this deck is right about 68%. It's like, it was solidly at 69%, but I've had a very bad week. Like, we've just lost everything this week. But I think this is the 22nd or 23rd day, and I do play it some off stream as well, and we're right at about 68%. I don't have a spreadsheet program on this computer right now, or I'd be keeping up with stats similar to what Michael Jacob does. I would love to be able to give those stats out. I need to get a free spreadsheet program for this computer. So yeah, we're in a lot of hurt. We don't even have a spell we can play before turn 3, and we're playing versus a very fast deck, so. We've recently cut all the meltdowns and stuff out of the main deck, so we have a lot less interaction on turn 1 and 2. So, the red deck's probably gotten significantly worse with these changes we've made. Like, he would have to have a pretty bad draw right now for us to win, I think. Yeah, I need, I would love to have something similar to that, but I don't even have, I don't have any spreadsheet program at all on this computer. If he has any follow-up at all here, we can practically scoop. Sure. Oh wow, he's got 2 more creatures? Yeah, we are dead, friends. Maybe we can hit a Gideon or something and he'll be silly enough to attack it, but... That's not a Gideon. That's not a Gideon. So yeah, we have no out from here. He just attacks twice and we're dead. There's nothing we can hit with the Supreme Will to affect that. And he could have more cards in his hand. Well, I think I have to prevent the point of damage. So we take 7 this turn. We could technically draw Blessed Alliance into basic land and not be dead, but like that is the actual thinnest thing I've ever heard. So if it's exactly Blessed Alliance, we have another chance. A chance. Has to be Blessed Alliance, not Blessed Alliance. All right, we're dead. Alright, versus the red decks, we like the 40s. Again, we used to have 2 in the main deck, 2 in the side. We cut 1. This is going to significantly decrease our mono red match, I think. We used to have what I considered a favorable mono red match, but we've now removed 5 cards that I think are good versus mono red. So, probably not favored anymore. I don't ever want to draw a lot of these. Like, they're not really how I win these matches post board. The Supreme Wills feel a little clunky and the Hieroglyphs feel a little clunky. What do we got here? The 40s main were actually good. I'm not super pleased that we cut them, and one or two of them might come back in over like the Essence Scatter and the Stasis Snare. When we originally cut them, we added the 4th Approach and we added the 2nd Gideon, and the 2nd Gideon and the 4th Approach have both been very good. Today we cut the final of our 2 Meltdowns for the Stasis Snare and the Scatter, and we're going to have to get some more games under our belt before we really rate them. I think Essence Scatter is a little bit better than Censor. I don't really want to cut a Censor anyway, so I think I'm just going to cut a Supreme Will. But we'll have to see. Obviously can't make a decision after one game of one match. But, alright, this hand seems fine but bad. We got 2 turns to draw an untapped land. We get to lead on the 40, which is kind of nice. Like, would stop a Beaumont Courier on turn 1 if they have it. The 40s have been very good, though. Like, they were good versus every match. They generally always they were good versus every creature-based match, even the mid-range ones, because they always felt like they at least bought you 1 or 2 more turns. And the way this deck plays out, like, I've repeated it 1,000 times, but this deck really plays out a lot like a Fog deck, and just getting extra turns means so much in this deck. Like, it means a lot more than it does in a normal control deck. Like, cause in a normal control deck, you're playing like this grindy game, and getting 1 extra turn often doesn't change it. But in this deck, you're kind of playing like kind of a combo kill with the approaches, or you're playing very super high impactful cards in post-boarded matches like Regal Caracal, and just like getting an extra turn to get to one of those can often mean the world. But hopefully we'll hit our land. Even if it doesn't come into play tapped, it's not the end of the world. This thing's already prevented 3 damage and gained us 2 life, which is kind of nice. Well, we didn't hit the land. That's disappointing. I felt like if we just wrote off lands that this game would have been easy. Maybe the approach shouldn't be in the deck, but like it wouldn't be a land anyway, so that doesn't really matter. Don't like putting the Kenya in his graveyard, but when we have an authority out, that's not the biggest of deals. I'm really just worried about him being able to play a Chandra or something that I can't answer now. Because I'll be using my turn for like Gideons and stuff. Also, moderately worried about just never seeing another land. That would be bad. I don't think I've ever lost a game because of it, and it's won me at least a few. Overall, it's not a very good card, though. You can play it or not play it. Like, it doesn't seem like it affects anything. I still kind of like it though. It's decent versus the. Come on, deck. It's decent versus like the other grindy matches, like the blue reds and the black blues and stuff like that. But it doesn't really come into play much. I gave the audible "come on" deck that round or game or turn. Rip. So like if he just resolves a Chandra, we're going to lose. But I mean, were you going to win when you drew 2 lands anyway? No. We'd be 3 turns minimum of being able to deal with a Chandra, and that's with very high luck. Like we'd literally at this point have to draw like a land plus cast out. Unless there was some miracle world that the Gideon did it. But yeah, like I said, we removed steal your main phase, bud. Or steal your attack phase, bud. He tapped 4 mana awfully quick too, which means we're definitely getting Chandra'd. I stand by, I do not think Chandra is a good card in the red decks. I think it's an okay card out of the sideboard, but like everybody wants to play 4 of them. Alright, well we don't care about that card. I don't care about that card at all. Well, we certainly care about it when we don't draw a land though. So as bad as this game looks for me, I'm still pretty sure if I draw an untapped land that I'm probably a favorite to finish it off. Seagate Wreckage makes it harder, but Seagate Wreckage makes it a lot harder. When I think they left Shocks in. Don't want to lose to the guy who leaves Shocks in his deck versus me. That doesn't seem fun. Untap land? Not an untap land. Alright, well. Sometimes you just don't draw 3 lands. Even if we hadn't found a 4th land, I'm pretty sure a 3rd land's enough that game to where we would have got 3 or 4 or 5 more turns if we drew it on turn 3. Not sure about the Dispel in the sideboard still. Not sure about those cards. I'm also not sure about these cards. So there's like 8 cards in the 75 I'm not completely sure about. Alright, well, we get to play first. Hopefully we'll find some lands this game. This hand's keepable. We have a card we can scry early. We have interactive removal spell early, and we have double counter spell. And or double card draw, whichever one we need. I really like playing these cards that are like... They're kind of like split cards if you think about it. Like the old Fire and Ices or whatever. Anytime you have a choice of what to do, which all of these cards have a choice, like this one's is just like a split card. Pay 1 mana and or draw a card, or like pay 4 mana and get a thing. Any deck that's got like a bunch of these choice cards always feels pretty good to play to me. Alright, so this is blue-black. If he's the Reanimator deck, we're probably a significant underdog, but we'll probably win game one. If he's the control deck, I'm not actually sure how it goes. Either or, I don't think I'm cycling a cast out. Actually, I probably am cycling a cast out. Cycle one of them at least. So he didn't play anything on turn two. He's likely not the Reanimator deck then. Our counter spells aren't particularly good. The plan's kind of the Millstone Helm if he is the Reanimator deck. Need land, so we'll take the land. I believe I just misspoke. I said the plan was the Millhelm if he's the Reanimator deck. The plan's kind of the Millhelm if he's the blue-black deck. That's what I was supposed to say. If he's the Reanimator deck, the plan's just a cast approach. Go on about our lovely day. Well, I would censor that, so I think it's worth cast outing to see if we get a censor. And we didn't. So, onward. Probably will not cycle the other censor. Probably won't sack out the other Supreme Will yet either. Right on time, censor was the next card. So he's definitely the blue-black control deck now. Now, which list is he is the question. Well, we can't censor that. Scarab God's a real threat. Don't care about Kalatos in the least. Alright, so start off with a cycle. See if we hit our land. Didn't hit our land. Alright. Well, start off with this and see if it resolves, but he could cycle or negate. He chose to do neither. And just gonna jam the approach. Don't care if he counterspells it, but this makes him worry about it the rest of the game. He's got to leave some mana up for protection. And don't care if he like untaps and resolves a Scarab God or whatever, because he can't buy anything back. We have a cast out and we have a way to protect the cast out. So we can guaranteed cast out a Scarab God on this turn, is basically what I'm trying to say. Stasis Snare is a good one. It's something that'll improve this match significantly. They could have Consign in memory though, so like I can't rely on the Stasis Snare. Oh, don't like missing a land drop. It's usually who misses the first land drop loses. But now we've both missed the same amount of land drops, so could be a little different. I guess it's fine just to try to essence scatter that. Scarab Gods are the only cards I care about. They typically have 2, sometimes 3. I wasn't facing enough control at all. I think I got paired versus 0 matches that I really, really wanted it. I brought it in versus the mirrors, but like it was just clunky versus the mirrors. Just like real clunky versus the mirrors. But I did bring it in versus the mirrors. Don't really care if this resolves. Like, I'm never going to attack with it because they have Grasp of Darkness, and I don't want to make their Grasp of Darkness alive. I'm just kind of like trying to bait out something. Anything. Again, don't really want to miss my land drops, so... And we can fight a Gearhulk. So we're not really worried about it dying. I think it's time to cycle to Supreme Will. And look for a card draw spell. Alright, well there's a second approach. There's also a Glimmer Genius. I think I want the Glimmer Genius more than I want the approach. Like, we'll be able to find another approach. There is 4 in this build. Don't want you, and don't want you, so our approach is 4 from the bottom. So we drew 1,000 cards this turn. I just want to point that out. We got to pay attention to that when we're trying to mill them, because our third Rivulet's, it's now, so we put 2 cards on the bottom, so it's now 5 cards from the bottom. So we may not draw any more cards for now. Depends on what he does. I do like the fact that Little Gideon says I can't lose the game, so I could technically mill myself, but that's not really the plan. So this is another Scarab God, and they have nothing but Scarab Gods over there. I mean, sure. It resolves. So this Scarab God's like really the only card left in his deck that I think I care about, but he could have, like I said, he could have Consign to Memories, he could have a third Scarab God. You could have a number of cards, but like that's the card I care most about. Let's phrase it like that. Could have commit and memory too, I guess. Don't know why he's slowed down. Like he's got to be thinking about something. He could, and then he would have to legend rule one, but he'd be tapped out, and we have the other cast out at least. So we would. I think he's lagging. I'm not sure. Where's my cell phone? Oh, I never remember to bring my cell phone to the computer. Opponent scooped. Alright. I guess he didn't have another kill condition other than the Scarab God? I'm not sure why he conceded. Huh. Not sure why he conceded. Oh. Anyway, so sideboarding plans versus them. We want all the counter spells. I think the Sins are a little bit better than Fumigates because of the Scarab Gods. I actually think that the creature plans are reasonable if they're going to be sideboarding out things like the Caracal can do a lot of work. Let's see what cards we don't want first, though. So we at least are taking out 2 Fumigates. We may take out more. And we're probably going to take out the Blessed Alliances as well. So we don't really have room for the cats unless I'm willing to take out more things. I don't think I'm willing to take out anything else. I doubt he's going to have Lost Legacy. He could have Lost Legacy, but I doubt it. They generally don't play cards that narrow in their sideboard. And if he plays Lost Legacy on us, we'll just have to move on to the next game. We're not completely dead to Lost Legacy either. Like we do have the Gideons. Go Gideons. yeah, we're pretty screwed to Lost Legacy. But go Gideon. Go Gideon Ranger. Oh God, I referenced Power Rangers on my stream. Somebody pulled a plug. Not allowed to stream anymore. It's getting up there in the day. I got a lot to do if I plan on making it to Magic this evening for a little Friday night Magicaroo. So this is a hand already that like the Blighted Cataracts would be a little bit worse than a Censor. Well, that card's going to be aggravating. Said the Blighted Cataract's a little worse than a Censor. I meant a little worse than a basic land. I really have like some deficiency in my head. Don't exactly know what it is, but there's something wrong with me. You're not the only person I heard that's going to do that. Have fun losing to all the red players in the room, because I still don't think that build beats the red players. Like, maybe if you draw a couple of Frabens early, but other than that, I don't think it does. I think it's worse versus the control decks, too. Like, I think losing to Chandra's is so... Oh, God, we really are going to get killed this game. We're just going to get crushed by these little dudes. I think we only have 2 or 3 of these, so, like, this is pretty unlucky for us. Well, prevent some damage, at least. I thought about playing it, but... I think it's only good versus control decks. Maybe I'm just wrong about what it's good versus. I know somebody else is playing it too, and I didn't approve of them playing it either. I really feel like it's only good versus control decks, which isn't something that's in the room you're going to be playing in. Like, I don't even feel bad versus it versus Teamer. Or with Teamer, but like I feel like I can't beat red-green ramp with Teamer. So this game's just awkward for me. Like, I'm having to fight versus cards that I don't want to fight versus. Let's go ahead and see if we can protect one of these. He may have to use a cast out on this. Hey, thanks Steve Spam for the subscription. Don't forget you can type Sears the Strip in chat to get a nice little emote. Oh, okay, apparently... you can see it on my screen, but yeah. Alright, so this game's not going well. If he has a negate or a sensor for this fumigate, it gets significantly worse. I appreciate it, man. If nothing else, though, the Gideon bought us about a million turns. Now he can resolve a Scarab God or anything he wants, which again, bad for us, but like we have 3 cast outs, we have 2 descends, and we have a stasis snare. So like even if a Scarab God comes down this turn, as much as it's not good for us, it's also not the end of the world for us. The second approach is actually a good draw. He doesn't have a whole lot of cards in his hand, so like maybe we'll be able to protect the second approach with a dispel. Either way, we're 100% casting it. Like 100% casting this. Maybe even counterspells the first one, who knows? But our little Gideon's finally dead. He put a card on top of his library, so that's very bad for me. It's kind of an odd one to sideboard in. Alright, so we just really want to draw an untap land here. Would also take a descend. That is neither of those things. I think it's worth waiting one turn, but like he's gonna get to scry for a whole lot of cards, so the odds of this spell being enough past his turn's probably not good. You get an emote. I don't know how to. Without that. Alright, anyway, so he put on bottom. So there's some chance this resolves. He's only got 3 cards in his hand, but he did miss a land drop, so... Alright, well, hopefully he doesn't have it. He tapped 4 mana, so that's actually a good sign. Don't have 2. Even if he has 2, there's a chance that we can untap and just play an approach. You forgot the I. There's an I between Z and RIP. It's also case sensitive. The last RIP has to be capitalized. Anyway, so we beat blue-black. Here, let me just pop it up on screen so you can see it. Like this. Sorry, bub. be nice, local. But we do appreciate the sub. At some point, I might do something for subs later, but I really didn't expect people to even sub, so I don't have any idea. It's not something I put a lot of thought into. You can spam that in everybody's channel too. Like, that doesn't just work in this channel, it works in all the channels. Anyway, like I like to say after every match, or every match that takes more than a few minutes, you can type !decklist in chat if you're on Twitch. You can also look in the description down below on Twitch to link to the Twitter. On the Twitter, you can see every deck list and every time I go live, and a link to the YouTube. If you're watching from the YouTube, in all of the links on YouTube, or sorry, in all of the videos on YouTube, there's links to the Twitch, the Twitter, and the deck list. I assume all of them are like most of them. I don't really know. I don't think this hand's good enough. I think this hand's good enough. We certainly don't want the third approach. I do think this hand's good enough. Like, if we roll off even one land, we have a turn 2 spell, but worst case scenario, we just have several draws and we have a Fumigate. If the original hand had even a white source or something that I could scry, I would probably keep it. The first hand might have been keepable though, like 2 islands and a Supreme Will is pretty close to the same as this hand. Too many children, drowning in children. I think I'm supposed to be doing some kind of like video series with another YouTuber soon. But local dope, who's gonna teach you how to play? I like how I'm trash talking local when he beat me last week. He beat me real bad with my own deck. He just brought blue-white approach to a local event and crushed my face. I also like how I'm referring to it as my own deck when I did not invent this deck. I don't know what our opponent's doing. But I just assume if he's casting that spell, he's doing something that's going to kill me. I actually thought Modern was a much more popular than Standard, but I posted a couple Modern videos last weekend on YouTube, and it seemed like nobody liked them. They have like 1/4 the views as my blue-white approach deck. I would have assumed people were getting bored of blue-white approach at this point. I absolutely love the deck. Like, I'm not getting bored of it at all, but like I would have just thought other people would have. I would have thought that I had to be, I don't know, more proactive in changing decks or whatever, or at least great at this deck, which I'm neither great at this deck nor do I play a good variety of decks, so I'm surprised that people still watch these videos. So again, I don't know what my opponent's doing, but this card is absurdly powerful, is why I went ahead and risked the censor on it. There's no ghost quarter or anything in this format, though. Maybe it was safe to let that resolve? He's just playing a bunch of blue and white lands after that. Don't kill my Glimmer. Glimmer loves you. You can play your own Glimmer. I wouldn't have counterspelled your own Glimmer anyway. Pretty much only keeping lands here. Neither of you are lands, so bottom. Found some lands. That's my favoriteest thing to do. Yeah, going pretty close to a month. I think, like I said, I think this is day 22 on stream. I just really like this deck. I don't know what I'm going to do when this deck rotates. I might actually have to try to win again. That'll be a new experience. Have to put the try-hard pants back on. So what happened to our opponent's energy? Did he accidentally use an energy for the hieroglyph? That's not good for him if he did. I think that's what our opponent did, though. I think our opponent paid 1 energy to cast that hieroglyph. Because he got 2 energy back when he played that, and he used 1 of them for that. So he pretty much had to, right? Opponent does have some decent looking basics. Four, 5, 6. Don't tap this, please. Something with X in it. Oh god, it's Approach of the Second Sun, so we could just be dead. Bottom, I guess top? Just in case he doesn't have a second one? Make it harder for him to find one? And it gives us some chance for the Gideon to be able to do some damage now. I studied about putting green in the deck because I think the green monitor, the one that cycles and gets deserts, I think it's better than Hieroglyph, but I didn't like the land. The land issue was why I abandoned that. So you gonna counterspell this, or is he just casting like a cast out on this? Okay. It's a Glimmer. Fine. He put the card on top, and he put it on top pretty quickly. Which scares me. Kinda scares me a pretty good amount. So he has cast out into approach. There isn't anything we can do. Cast out into approach and there's nothing we can do. That's true. I'm just assuming that, like, they'll have cast out. I'm assuming he has cast out, but, like, I'm not going to bluff a counter spell. Alright, that's Supreme Will. So he can't kill us this turn. There's not enough mana to do both. So that's nice. Let's go ahead and pop up this deck list and see how angry it makes me. Doesn't make me angry at all. I would play the third Ulamog, but So opponent just cast a second approach real quick. He didn't realize that a Gideon stopped him from losing, I guess. I like how this card's worded. This card's worded, opponents can't win the game. And it's worded like that for a reason. Alright, so like even if he has a counterspell, we're not dead. If he has a counterspell, we get to attack for 4. Colorless, colorless. Well, that does, oh, he's cycling? Okay, so we win. Alright, well anyway, like I said, our deck's not really built to fight these type of matches, so we'll have to see what happens post-board. The little Gideons were great. I apologize if you guys can hear the vacuum cleaner in the other room. Somebody decided to do the cleaning right when we do the talking. I actually think cats are okay in this match. Like, they pressure opponents pretty quickly. Overall, I typically take the Blessing Alliances out. I used to take out the Effort Meltdowns and 2 Fumigates and bring in the 4 cats. But now where we don't have the Meltdowns to take out, I don't know if I want the cats, because I don't think that there's any of these other cards that I like worse than 2 cats. I don't think I want to bring just 2 cats in. Don't think I just want to bring 2 cats in. Oh, the Essence Scatter is probably not good. So there's a third one. Yeah, the Essence Scatter's been pretty good. Counterspelled like a Bristling Hydra, and I think it's been relevant in 3 of our matches. It counterspelled a Scarab God versus the blue-black deck. Man, Shelfed Monitor, this card is just insane if you think about it. Like, when you're playing, if you're going to play Bant, which I don't know if you should play Bant because coming to play tap lands, but if you do happen to play Bant, think about this card. You pay 4 mana and cycle it, and you get to put a basic land directly into battlefield and draw a card. Where Hieroglyph, you're paying 4 mana, and you're hoping to draw a land usually, and it's not coming into play. It does, however, not get to cycle, which is the one bad thing. Or doesn't cycle for 1, rather. To, like, help you when you're, like, mana screwed and stuff. So what do we got? We got 38 seconds left. I have no idea how to get the 4th cat in the deck. Probably can't. Probably don't want to draw more than 1 or 2 anyway. I definitely want 4 approaches. The first person to play approach typically wins this matchup. Not 100%, but typically. Like, drawing multiple approaches is just very good in this match. At least in the typical mirror. I don't know what this opponent's playing, but like typically we have so very few hard counter spells that just drawing a couple approaches is ridiculous. You got Little Gideon in her hand again. Little Gideon likes to dance like there's no tomorrow. The Fumigate's not very good. Maybe I could have sideboarded out a 4th Fumigate, but I like to have some answers in case they're playing the big Sphinx, or unless they have like some kind of sideboard plan that involves Thing in the Ice or something of that nature. Yeah, well, I don't care too much about the censor in this match. I'd much rather be able to draw 2 later. Yeah, well, I'd much rather be able to draw 1 now, apparently. We hit the land, at least. So now we're in this awkward spot where we're going to be casting our draw spells on our main phase for the next few turns, probably. What's up, George? Just trying to get in a quick stream. I believe this is match 4. Yeah, this is match 4. Well, that's disappointing. He may counterspell this because he knows we're mana screwed. It's the only time I like counterspelling cards like this. Alright. I do not like coming to play tap lands. But we've now missed a land drop and it's pretty bad. Wow, you're at page 3 already? Wow, you must be bored out of your mind. Should at least run over to Card Cave and say hi to Sean. See if they got anything pretty to buy. We're Card Cave people up in here. Alright, well, at some point we've got to hit a land. We just have to hope that we hit it before we're dead. What do you mean you can't stay long? I'm hours from even being able to be there. Legit hours from even being able to be there. Well, I don't care a whole lot if we lose this game. Legit hours. I don't even have my deck sleeve, so you're not playing tonight? It's up near the old Catholic school, if you know where that is. Oh boy, we did it! Woo! 4th land, turn 6. Oh, yeah. Sorry, I thought you meant page 3. It's exceptionally. I don't know if I can even explain where it is from like. I don't know if I can explain where it is. I'll let James try if he wants, but I don't know that much about that area. All right, well that's unfortunate. We have to let that resolve, and hopefully we're going to draw a land and hide behind this little Gideon. Well, we don't want you. We don't want you. So he's 7 cards away from getting that approach back. Hopefully he just doesn't have an answer to this card. How sweet would that be? If he just like can't beat this card? What are you trading to your buddy? Is there anything out of my bulk I should go like dig out to try to trade to your buddy? So he's tapping 5, 6, Angel of Inventions. Alright, well that does things. That doesn't do nothing. Also not that worried about that card. Well, again, not hitting a land is absurdly bad for us. So that's 2 draw steps our opponents had. This is 6, so it approaches the top card of his library. So like if I drew a Rivulet, it would be safe to do it, but we're in eastern Kentucky. Pretty close to the Virginia line where I live. Really would like to draw just another blue mana. And we're just never going to draw another blue mana. I wouldn't have any of that card anyway. Is it bad that I want to discard the approach here? No, actually, we didn't have that good of a view of the where we live. Actually, was streaming during the approach too, but like it wasn't that good of a view here. I think we had to drive like 2 hours or something down to Tennessee to get a real good view. So this could be a cast out. It's 5 mana, whatever it is. Alright, it's a Torrential Gearhulk. Well, that's a good one, but doesn't really change the game state we're in. So he's going to Supreme Will instead of... Oh, because he's just going to... Well, this is kind of odd. So he either has an approach in his hand or he has to take an approach with this one. All he wants lands. We're going to keep all lands that we get the rest of this game. We're going to try to out-control our opponent. At some point, I might discard this Fumigate. I may even discard this approach at some point. Again, I apologize for the massive amount of noise. They should not be doing what they're doing during my stream, but whatever. I really hope you guys can't hear the vacuum here. I mean, my cards aren't organized. Like, I can't really just bring cards like that. It's pretty impossible for me just to bring a bunch of cards like that. Alright, well, onward to doing this stuff. In fairness, maybe I should have kept this Supreme Will. Oh god, well I don't want any of these. So if he has another Torrential Gearhulk, we're not the happiest camper. Alright, a little bit happier of a camper. I have one modern deck with me, but I don't think anybody wants to play versus it. So opponent has 6 cards in hand. He's already resolved his first approach, and we know he's drawn it back. Yeah, the meta's a little odd right now. That's for sure. It's a little bit different. I have Ad Nauseam built. Nobody wants to play versus Ad Nauseam. I don't really have time to build anything else. I would needed warning. I could have built several legacy decks or a couple of different modern decks, but... Alright, well there's another approach. Just really feel like I'm not getting anywhere right now. I don't feel like I can cast an approach, because he could just cast out and we know he has an approach. So he's cycling a draw 2? Why would you cycle a draw 2? Alright, I'm going to keep playing this game with him until I start hitting lands. We've only found 7 lands in our top 31 cards, by the way. I guess we've scryed some to the bottom or something. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Alright. You can cast out our Gideon. Hopefully you go for the approach. Just hit F6 here. Untap, discard a cat. Really trying just to trick him into going for the approach. If he's got multiple dispels, we're still just going to lose, but I mean, if he's got multiple dispels, what were we supposed to do, right? With the amount of lands we have? Well, we counterspelled another approach, which is kind of funny. So what we really need to draw here is a... I don't know. I think I'm just going to go for it. His last 4 cards have to be approach, a land, and cast out. If his last 4 cards are approach, a land, and cast out, I'm willing to lose. It doesn't have to be cast out. It could be like quantitative field or whatever, but like we're never going to win if we don't cast an approach, and we're not going to find a better turn of the game to cast an approach than that turn. That being said, because of Torrential Gearhulks and this being at just 5 loyalty instead of 6, we're not going to go for it this turn. We're going to try to resolve a summary dismissal on pretty well any non-card draw spell he plays. And then next turn we may go for the other approach when we have a little more toughness on the Gideon. Or if we like draw 1 more land and can play 2 counter spells or whatever. May not as well though. A lot of different things can happen on this turn, so that's 5 mana, that's 6 mana. Try to summary dismissal it. We've got multiple counter spells to try to protect it. So far, all we've saw was a Tune with Eeper and an Excavator, a Ramunap Excavator. Not saw any other cards. I think if you're going to play green, you want to use Shelfet Monitor because I think it's very good, but so far he's not showed us any card like that, so I don't really know. Would really like our opponent to like tap some mana. Alright, well that's kind of tapping mana, even though it replaces itself. So he has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 mana or whatever. Probably going to go for the second approach this turn. If we draw an untap land, for sure. If we don't draw an untap land, maybe not. Yeah, I guess we're not going to go for it then, since we didn't draw the land. Well, it's going to be blue-white approach, bub. I can go ahead and tell you that. I have no time to sleeve more decks. I wonder what the chances is I can just like make Gideon a creature and he'll tap 3 mana or something lewd. Kinda want to draw cards, but that probably isn't good. He tapped a green mana that turn like he had a spell. Which makes me not want to go for it. He needs a lot of spells to beat us. Like, he needs an approach, some way to get rid of the Gideon, plus 2 counter spells. I think I'm perfectly fine playing this, like, game that we're playing. I think he's better at it than me, but, like, I feel like he has to have a lot of different cards, and we don't have to have that many different cards. So what do we got? We got 9, 10, 11, 12 in spells. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. So next turn we can cast all our spells if we draw a land. Yeah, we'll just wait another turn then. At some point he's going to start tapping mana again as well. What do we got this turn? 6 mana again? Is it like another Angel of Invention or Sanctions? Oh, we can't counterspell an Angel of Sanctions, so. Hey. He's getting back his cast out. It's kind of a smart play. That doesn't really make a lot of sense, but okay. Don't use the Wi-Fi. They have wait, no, their free Wi-Fi is pretty decent. Alright, so our go here is to resolve yet another cast out. So what's our go? Play cast out. Targeting his angel to get our cast out to target his cast out. So he's casting a negate there. We will cast a negate here. Anything you can do, I can do too. Oh, that sucks. It did storm real bad last night. It's typically good though. What's he playing now? He's tapping 4, 5 for a glimmer? Well, you can have a glimmer. We have a dispel, so I assume we win. I assume we win. These fights over chat have been kind of cool. Yeah, I've enjoyed these fights over Chad. Could have tapped my mana better, but he can only play one counter spell and we have a dispel, so I don't think tapping my mana better matters. Alright, well, we've at least obtained a pity chest. Um, so I lost this game bad to mono red. Enjoying the new changes. I'm going to pop up the deck list again. Go ahead and minimize that. Make you guys look at my sweet line of masterpieces that I could care two craps about. Anyway, if you're into chat, type !deck list. Or if you're into Twitch, you can look at the description below to a link to my Twitter. On my Twitter, you can see every time I go live, every deck list I play, and a link to the YouTube. And on the YouTube, in every video, in the description is a link to the Twitter, the Twitch, and the deck list. Appreciate all the follows you guys throw, both on the YouTube, the Twitter, and the Twitch. Again, we need to thank old Steve Spam up here again for the subscription today. We very much appreciate it. Alright, so we're on the draw. We have a turn 2 spell, and then we have a Wrath of God. So this hand's pretty weak, but I believe this hand is a fairly solid keep. Most decks in the format, you get to a Fumigate and you can win. Not every deck, of course. Alright, so the Thraben Inspector decks, for the most part, are typically Blue-White Monument and typically Green-White Ramp. And we are not a favorite versus either of those decks. So, it's a little discouraging. We might have to just settle for the OPD chest, and now we know he's on ramp. So, we know we're in for a rough game, boys. Hello, I'm a Bunchy. I guess that's what it is. My local meta is super mid-range heavy. Temur, Jund, red-green. If I would want to add a second or third Essence Scatter to the list, what should I cut? If that is your meta, I would not even put the Essence Scatter in the deck. You do not need Essence Scatter to beat mid-range decks. If you really wanted an Essence Scatter and you thought you had to have a few more, I would probably shave... Probably shave the third approach, maybe. Maybe the Stasis Snare. But, like, this deck is very good versus mid-range decks. Well, that's disappointing. Alright. Well, we're not in good shape, friends. If he's got his Eldrazi, we just will not win this game. We can beat one, probably not going to beat two, probably can't beat an Ulamog of any kind. What lands are you going to be stuck with? There's beta lands in my deck. The blue-white, I can't, if you're playing versus the black-greens, the Junds, and like the Temurs of the world, I can't suggest this deck enough. Like, this deck is so wonderful versus them. It's why I play this deck. I think this deck has a very positive match versus black-green, zombies, and Temur. And I used to think I was a favorite versus mono-red, but now I think that I've altered the deck enough that I'm not a favorite versus mono-red anymore. So if he has an Ulamog, we're going to be in very bad shape. If your opponent, if there's like a lot of ramp at your store, keep in mind like this deck does not beat ramp. I haven't figured out how to beat ramp. Beating ramp's probably going to require an entire retooling of the sideboard. So like he's on 6 mana now. If he misses a land drop, we're okay. That's not missing a land drop at all. Because if he doesn't have an Eldrazi, then we're okay. So he's got enough for a World Breaker. And a World Breaker kills one of our lands, which is an issue. Yeah. Not a fan. We'll tap it for mana. See what he gets with the Sanctum. If he doesn't get anything with the Sanctum, that's even worse for us, because that means he probably has an Ulamog in his hand. If he's just going and getting another World Breaker, that's bad for us as well. So he got an Ulamog. So whatever he has in his hand, or in his deck, an Ulamog is good enough. Technically need all the lands. So that's 9 mana. We just can't beat Ulamog, no matter what we do. Alright. We'll have to save the Stasis Snare for an Ulamog. Like, we can't snare a World Breaker, which is pretty unfortunate, because now I'm putting myself in this situation where he can just like buy this back and play it on the next turn, or have one on this turn, and I don't know. He'll be able to get our Stasis Snare, but what we can't beat is the land destruction. The uncounterable land destruction is what we can't beat. I feel like if we just had some Gear Hulks and more Summary Dismissals, we would easily beat them, because it's not the Eldrazi. We can deal with every Eldrazi. We can't deal with them killing our lands. When it takes us till turn 7 and turn 8 at our best case scenario to win, it's just really, really hard for us to. So at the moment, our opponent... Okay. Well, we don't care about that either. What we do unfortunately care about is Ulamog, and he can play Ulamog next turn, and again, there's nothing we can do about an Ulamog next turn. We would have liked to hit a cast out. If we'd hit a cast out, we would have used it on the Weirding Ward or whatever. Weirding Wood, I think. I think that's what it's called. Just to try to delay him a turn. There's just nothing we can do now. Just cannot beat this land destruction. Like, this is the turn of the game. We would have won on this turn of the game if not for the fact that he killed a land. Or not this turn of the game, next turn of the game, but... Now he's killing 2 more land. Now he can buy something back on the following turn and kill more land, while getting a Ulamog back. It's just an endless cycle that we can't beat. It's like we're still 4 turns away at best case scenario from being able to win. And that's the literal best case scenario of anything we can do. He's got enough mana to be able to buy back the World Breaker and get the Ulamog back. There's just nothing we can do about this land destruction. Oh, he didn't even need to buy one back. He just had it in his hand. Alright. Well, that works too. Alright, so versus the ramp decks, our few little counter spells are decent. We definitely need more. Our Descends are decent. If they get mana screwed, like the Caracals are decent, but like they're pretty bad. These cards are pretty bad. Just don't have a positive way to beat them. This hand's about as good as it gets, I guess. I'm probably taking Temur Energy. Some percentage chance that I take red deck wins still just because I own the cards, but very likely. Wait, we got to send a message again. I'll read it later. I think he's the guy that wants to do a YouTube video with me. I thought that was just an opponent earlier, and I hadn't been clicking it because I thought it was, I didn't think it was information that I needed to read. I guess I'm just going to jam this Gideon next turn. Don't care if they resolve a Beneath the Sands, I don't think. And getting it on the table is good in case they get a tracker, which isn't anything that we could prevent anyway. And Beneath the Sands is good, but again, I would rather have the negate for... I'd rather have the negate for an hours. There's an argument that I should have went ahead and emblemed to Gideon last turn, but like they're not going to win very often anyway without without casting the Ulamogs and stuff, so I don't know how relevant that emblem is, but it was probably a mistake. It's a good chance I should just be on 3 loyalty with an emblem right now. Emblem. Well, that's disappointing. We did leave Fumigates in the deck though, so at least we have that going for us. That is perfectly fair. So we definitely want lands. I guess we'll keep the Stasis Snare too. Unless our Gideons survive a little longer. I guess I'd rather Stasis Snare the Thought-Knot Seer if I'm Stasis Snaring anything, so I get to draw a card. Wow, 1.5 hours, and I thought it was rough for me. We have one that has about 10 people, 30 minutes. It's 30 minutes each way. And then we have another one that has about 16 people, but it's roughly 2 hours away. Oh, happy birthday, man. Congratulations. Welcome to your 30s. Congratulations. That's pretty sweet. You're going to have some cake. Everybody say happy birthday to JJ Still 87. He will always be remembered as the first person I did not know that subbed to me. In other words, my favorite. Alright, well, we've got cards. And spells. And a Gideon. This Gideon's prevented 400 damage this game. I've counted. That's an actual number. That's not exaggerating. An actual number. 400. It's 400 damage. Stop casting Frabens. Steve, you're second favorite. You're number 2. I guess I'm just gonna cycle this. I guess I'm gonna cycle this one too. That land tapped and untapped. That's just awkward. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Well, we're definitely gonna grab you. Whatever. I want to be able to cast both my spells here. The odds of us finding another land are high enough that I think it's not worth putting the farmland in play. This is the type of play that could come back and bite me later. I like how this Gideon is now... He's now gone from preventing 400 damage to 4 billion damage. Well, that's not going to resolve. Yeah, he can clearly have that. So, one is the loneliest number. Guess we're putting both of those on the bottom here, because we need to untap land so badly. Alright, so we still have all 4 approaches in the deck, so we're at a spot now to where like, even if he plays the World Breaker this turn and kills a land, like, any top deck still lets us win, but he's more likely to, if he plays a World Breaker, to get his Fault Not Seer back. Oh my god! Oh my god! I didn't click right on the Tireless Tracker and I lost my Gideon. Oh my god. Punt. 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 No, that could cost us this game. That could truly cost us this game. Pretty annoyed about that. It's my fault. Doesn't mean I'm not annoyed. I know I'm saying punt, but I'm pretty tilted about that one. We still have a 1 in 4 chance to win. Or, you know, a 3 in like... a 3 in 39 chance to win or whatever. Alright, well, let's see. So 1, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So another one of those just brings Big Dude into play? Alright, well, we're not dead. Keeping the meltdowns in the main deck is the only thing that I think I like a 40s main deck versus aggressive metas, and I like still having the meltdowns in my deck versus aggressive metas. I like having like 2 to 3 authorities main and the full 4 post board, and I like having 2 to 3 meltdowns. Like, just lowering the curve a little bit and bringing in those 1 and 2 drops is very good versus aggressive decks. But make sure that you have all 4 kitties. Like, the 4 kitties out of the board mean everything. So realistically, my mistake may not have mattered, because I would only have got 1 more turn anyway, and where he didn't get to kill a land or anything, we get that turn either way. So our punt may not have affected the game. Why did he not attack with the Fraben Inspector? So hopefully our punt didn't affect the game. He missed a minimum of 1 point of damage, possibly 2 points of damage on that turn. That's kind of odd. Anyway, so we'll cycle and look for an approach. None of you guys are an approach, so we'll take the one that lets us look at 4 more cards. And we got there. Yeah, so we stole 1 game versus Ramp, even though I made horrendous misplay. Just a horrendous misplay. He stalled on lands most of the game, though. Like, he was having to use clues during his turn and stuff like that. See, the Blessed Alliances are really good versus both Fault-Not Seer and Tireless Tracker, but they're so bad versus Fraben that I don't think I can play them. I think 5 Rafts is still enough. Alright, so round 5, game 3 versus a bad match on the draw. We have to see if we get there. I didn't deserve to win that, though. Alright, he mulliganed, and we have a negate, we have multiple cycle spells, we have an Essence Scatter that can get a Tireless Tracker and or a... Have an Essence Scatter to get a Tireless Tracker or a Fault-Not Seer, or even an Eldrazi, even though counterspelling an Eldrazi is not great. This hand's probably a fairly solid keep. He put on top. We're going to have to hit a lot of lands, though. Well, we've already missed on the first land, or the first draw step. They don't have a whole lot that they can play on 2 mana, so it's a little easier to keep a mana light draw when you know you don't have to play your counterspell till turn 3, or typically don't have to play your counterspell until turn 3. I shouldn't say never. There's always some chance that you have to play it. I'll negate any ramp spell here. Oh wait, well I can't negate that, but I can Essence Scatter that. Censor's pretty good, so they have 4 cards in hand and we have 3 counter spells in hand. But again, all they have to do is just hit land drops every turn. I believe we want to get the value out of the Censor while we can. It also lets us cycle a Illumination this turn. He still had his land drop. And this is a bad sign, friends. So we probably have to cycle again this turn. We really need to hit the land. If we don't hit the land here, we're probably dead. It's the second time this tournament where we've got stuck on 2 or 3 lands, even with several cycles. Can't really do anything about that one anyway. Probably going to have to cycle our cast out now. Probably cycle the Censor first. Actually, I'm going to cycle the cast out first. He missed his land drop there, so I think the Censor's good for 1 more turn. Alright, well we have an approach. Now we just have to use our 3 counter spells and hopefully keep them off lands. We would also have to kill or get like Fault-Not Seers and stuff. Would probably still cycle a Censor now. Have to see what he plays though. Fault-Not Seer would definitely Supreme Will Fault-Not Seer. We don't have another cast out in our decks, or sorry, we don't have another Essence Scatter in our deck, so there's no reason for us to cycle the Censor first. But we have one counter spell left. If they just play land, we're not in good shape. They play nothing, we're in great shape. They could just have a couple of Eldrazi. Maybe like a cast out or a stasis snare or something. Oh, well, they hit a land. I believe I actually have to negate that, don't I? Yeah, it's not the easiest thing. It's not very intuitive. He's been missing land drops, so the odds of him just having another land, that means he would have had to hit 2 or 3 in a row. That might not have been worth it. I may have should have saved up Glimmer and been able to use Glimmer in response to look for a... Well, obviously hits the best land in his deck there. And that's probably enough to beat us, friends. Oh wow, he doesn't have the one Eldrazi, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. That is peculiar, man. Well, I guess we want both of these. So as long as they don't have Shrine of the Forsaken into Ulamog, we're in pretty decent shape. We have 3 Rivulets, and the Rivulets do multiple different things. The Rivulets, one, in combination with any discard spell, or sorry, in combination with any draw spell and or any cycler, they get to reduce your opponent's attack steps by 1. Because, like, you untap and you draw a card for your turn, then you mill yourself 4 cards. So if you have one cycler, that is a 6th card, and then your second draw step is a 7th card. So, like, it serves that point to, like, reduce your opponent's draw steps by up to 4 cards while not needing another blue spell. Also, versus, like, the blue-red matches, Game 1 versus the blue-red matches are extremely grindy. They typically only have 4 Torrential Gearhulks. They typically only have 4 Wandering Fumaroles, 4 Torrential Gearhulks, and sometimes 1 Commit to Memory to win. And because you have so many hard answers to like those type of spells in the cast outs, the Blessed Alliances, the Fumigates or whatever, that game often comes down to milling your opponent. Game 1 versus like the blue-red decks and other control decks. Also versus the mirror, like, you know, like say they play an approach, right? They shuffle an approach back into their deck. You know where that approach is. So, like, while it's not good in the mirror because sacrificing one of your lands is bad and they could have just drawn a second Rivulet, like, it's not nothing. And versus the Reanimator decks, also, the games are exceptionally grindy. They can always get to 2 to 3 negates, 2 to 3 transgressed, or lost legacy. Like, they have all the card draws in the world, and they can always get to whatever card they want. So, like, it's a non-zero factor that you can mill out the Reanimator decks as well. I actually think there may be a 4th Rivulet that should be in the deck over the Blighted Cataract, but I'm not 100% sure. But yeah, overall they just do a number of things, and they you'd have to message one of your friends there, or you can come to Pikeville and I could probably find you a deck at Pikeville. But it's just overall, they have very little value. I've probably played 60 or 70 games and probably taken under 10 points of life loss with them. I've probably only had it affect my Prairie stream like maybe 3 times. Like, you know, I'm saying, you know, like probably like 1.5% of the games or something. I've not done the actual math, so I'm just like spilling out numbers here. So like they're almost a free splash, and like they have won me. They've just won me so many games on stream. Like, again, it doesn't come up all the time, but like even today we used a Rivulet that would have won if I was not stupid. But I was stupid. Anyway, so that's it for today. That was a nice little 4-1. We played versus a couple bad matches, and we got lucky versus them. We got crushed by versus Mono Red. We have recently removed 2 authorities from the main deck and 1 authority from the side. So we've gone down from having 2 main, 2 side to just 3 in the side. And we've cut 3 of our Effort Meltdowns over the past week. So I'm afraid that I've highly damaged the Mono Red match. And I may have to start looking to put some of those cards back in the deck. The Limvalas were good. The Summary Dismissal was good. The Dispel was good. All of the sideboard cards were good today. The cards that we added to our deck today, the Essence Scatter and the Stasis Snare, were both very good. I still need a larger sample size to see how I like them, but like the Stasis Snare and the Essence Scatter both performed very well today. Like, they did multiple things. We drew them often enough. So I was pretty happy with how the deck played today. Again, I need to play more matches versus Mono Red to see how worse I made the deck versus Mono Red. And I still don't think we fixed the ramp match. And honestly don't know how to fix the ramp match without making our deck considerably worse versus other opponents. Like, maybe we lose the Essence Scatter out of the main, move 1 authority to the main, but that seems terrible. That would have been able to work a second dismissal in that way. I'm not actually sure. Like, I feel like I want 78 cards in an 18-card sideboard of this deck. But, yeah, overall, it's performed pretty well. I've enjoyed it. But anyway, I've got to get a quick workout and gather up stuff to get on the road. I'm going to try to head to a local Friday Night Magic tonight. So let's see who's on to host. Mana Traders is on the host. Nassif's on the host as well. I think we'll throw one to Mana Traders. He's been on vacation for the last week. He's just playing Draft. I'm not a big Draft fan, but people may like it. So yeah. Mana Traders and or Yellow Hat are the 2 people that I think would be worth watching the most. Anyway, appreciate you guys all coming by, and thank you again, Steve. We appreciate it. I'll show you. I'll just roll up to his name. Like, we got a new sub today, which is pretty sweet. Appreciate it a lot, Steve Spam, and appreciate all of the new followers. I'll try to get the alerts soon. I say that every week, but I don't know. Anyway, look in descriptions below for links to everything. Later, everybody.